Hello, my name is Joe Radcliffe with the National Insurance Restoration Council, and today I'm doing this video to educate consumers, contractors, and roofers in the state of Texas, contrary to the American One Roofing videos about waiving deductibles. You see, although he's talking about the legislative loopholes where he's actually showing intent to try to circumvent the law, I think it's important that we truly discuss why waiving deductibles are illegal and dispel the mistruths that he has been putting out across the internet, not only on YouTube but on social media and on his website. So there's a lot about the life cycle of an insurance claim that is important for everybody to know on why it is fraudulent to waive a deductible. So when we're looking at the life cycle, there's many different ways that a roofing claim can be paid. There's also two different types of policies that are involved with roofing claims when it relates to insurance claims. And that is an ACV policy, which means it's an actual cash value policy where the insurance company will set aside a portion called depreciation, and that depreciation is non-recoverable. RCV means that the depreciation is recoverable. Now, when any contractor or roofer is saying they can waive the deductible, they are committing what is called insurance fraud, and that is illegal. Now let's discuss what or how that constitutes insurance fraud. In your policy that you have signed as a policyholder, you have agreed under contract. That you have to pay your deductible. That deductible is also mentioned in your declarations page for what you owe anytime there is an insurance claim. Now, as a consumer, if you knowingly do not pay your deductible, you are in breach of your contract with the carrier. If a carrier finds out you're in breach, they can elect to cancel your policy or not renew it. Now, let's also look at ACV and RCV. When an ACV policy or an RCV policy is done, and if that contractor is involved from the beginning, an estimate is done for the total value of the roof replacement, let's say $10,000. On an ACV policy, the insurance company is going to take that $10,000 claim and depreciate the material associated to that down anywhere from 5, 10, 15, 20%. And they're going to come up with a new value. Let's say after depreciation, it is $8,000. You see, and then what they do is they say, okay, you have a $1,000 deductible per our contract, which is your policy, and your contractor has said this is a $10,000 roof. We have depreciated it to $8,000, and we're now subtracting your deductible out of it of $1,000, and we are going to release you a $7,000 payment. You see, by the contractor being involved in setting a value to that roof with your deductible included, if the contractor then decides to waive your deductible, what he has done is created insurance fraud, fraudulent billing. Because the realities that we're now looking at is that it's no longer a $10,000 roof. Because that $10,000 included your deductible. By the contractor waiving that deductible, knowingly waiving it at the beginning, marketing that he's going to waive the deductible, he has now been a part of what is called intent to defraud the insurance company. Because if you are saying that you can do the job for $1,000 less by waiving the deductible, then the true value of the claim is not $10,000, it's $9,000. And the insurance company still has the right to remove your deductible. Now, as a consumer on an ACV claim, if you are part knowingly that the deductible is going to be waived and that this was not disclosed to the carrier and a full estimate was put in, they subtracted depreciation and your deductible and made it down to $7,000 that they were going to pay, and then you only paid the roofer $6,000, by being aware of the deductible being waived, you are now part of the insurance fraudulent billing. See, the statute doesn't matter when you have to do with fraudulent billing. Now, as a consumer, if you have an ACV policy and the insurance company sent you all the money out at the beginning and you only had the $7,000, and then a roofer came in and gave you an estimate for $6,000, well, the contractor is not creating fraudulent billing anymore, but per your policy, which is the contract on the claim, the insurance company only owes what it cost to get the job done, less your deductible. So there is a chance that if the carrier asks you for documentation and proof that the work was done, if you give them the $6,000, they are going to make you return money. Well, they should. But if that contractor fixes the bid and does false paperwork for you to submit to show that the full $7,000 was paid, which means your deductible was paid, then you and the contractor are now part of insurance fraudulent billing. Let's look at another scenario, whether it's an ACV, well, on an ACV policy. If the insurance company came out and gave you an estimate, and then you hired a contractor which raised the value of that estimate through a process called supplementing, and what that means is that the contractor typed up their own estimate and submitted to the carrier, which was a higher value. Now, if you have an ACV policy, what the insurance company will do is adjust their estimate according to the contractor's estimate. They will still apply non-recoverable depreciation and subtract your deductible. But if the contractor then chooses to waive your deductible, and you knowingly understand that he has submitted an estimate that raised the value of the claim and was waiving the deductible, by waiving that deductible, the contractor is stating that he can do the job for less. And by inflating the estimate to help get their money covered, that is called insurance fraudulent billing. And the consumer and contractor are both breaking the law, which happens to be a federal offense. And you will go to jail. Now, on an RCV policy, whether the contractor files a supplement or not, the insurance company has set a value to the claim. They have held money back, which is called recoverable depreciation. They have subtracted your deductible out of the ACV payment. To recoup the funds on the recoverable depreciation, you must submit to the carrier an invoice or contract to get the full depreciation released. If you do not disclose that the deductible has been waived and that shows the full amount of the claim so all the depreciation gets released, that, my friends, is insurance fraudulent billing. Now, the realities are, if you're honest and you show that the deductible is being waived, the insurance company, under your contract, which is called your policy, will now lower the claim. Let's say $10,000. They had a $2,000 non-recoverable depreciation. You have $1,000 deductibles, which means the insurance company owes only $9,000 once everything is paid in full. Well, under the contract, the insurance company only owes what it cost you to do the job. So if you show them that the deductible has been waived, the insurance company will reevaluate and assess their estimate and change it from a $10,000 estimate to a $9,000 estimate and subtract your deductible again. You see, under the contract, there's no way to get out of your deductible unless you are fraudulently doing so. And with the contractor knowingly marketing that he can waive a deductible just because he can loophole the statutes in the state of Texas does not mean he can sidestep for the consumer or the contractor insurance fraudulent billing. Now the contractor may say to the consumer, hey, you send this in, because then the contractor is building a area where he can in court say, well, I didn't send this in to the carrier, the homeowner did. So what these contractors are doing that say they can waive their deductibles, for you to get the depreciation released, you have to provide proof and documentation that the work was done and the value of that work. And if you're sending it in as a consumer to get the depreciation released and not disclosing that the deductible is waived, which lessens the value of the claim, you are doing insurance fraudulent billing. And if the contractor helped you accomplish this, they may think that they're sidestepping the laws, but the key word here is intent. The intent to defraud the insurance company. So when we listen to American One Roofing try to use his intellect to discuss why waiving deductibles are illegal, we should understand the full life cycle of a file and understand how the billing and depreciation processes work. And as a consumer, the contract that you have, which is your policy, you see, you can't sidestep the law. There's always a part of it that can get you. That's why it is always best to be ethical in the way that you do your business. As a consumer, you've signed a contract that says you are going to pay your deductible. As a contractor, it's our job to submit valid estimates that are true and right, and not try to waive the deductibles or use money to cover deductibles and put together improper billing just to get a job. You see, we get more business from being ethical and doing our jobs correctly than we ever will from being fraudulent or waiving deductibles thinking we can sidestep the law. So, to put it bluntly, it's illegal to waive a deductible. Sorry to bust your bubble, American One Roofing, but you have been fact-checked, and I'd like to see you try to talk your way out of this one.